Peppa Pig has to be one of the worst cartoons I've ever watched in my life. It involves a pig and his family named Peppa with his family, and they like to go on boring adventures, boring missions. They like to go on boring missions. The entire story takes back to a disturbing backstory of mine. Back in November 16th, 2023. In 8th grade. I was in 8th grade, and we were doing Kahoot. And they were learning, and they were doing Kahoot, and I refused to do Kahoot until my speech therapy named Miss Anna Maria told me to play the Kahoot. And I refused, saying no. And then I kept thinking and thinking about Peppa Pig over and over and over again until I started to cry. And my 8th grade teacher, who's named Miss Nikolai, came to cheer me up. She took me to the gym, and then I sat down and think about what I have done. But what cheered me up is the Fitness Gram Pacer test. I've seen this in YouTube so many times. Even in You Laugh, You Lose. I put most of those videos in funny videos. Check them out. That started to help me cheer up. But then I sit down and think about what I have done. And when I started to feel better, I wanted to play. And then Nicholas, who is also known as Sans Error 01, said my weakness was Kahoot. And that made me encourage people to say the F word until Mr. Whitney told me to stop. And then I sit back down and think about what I have done again. To top it all off, I told my 8th grade teacher about Peppa Pig. And then he talked about a different show, which is Yo Gabba Gabba, which is one of my favorite Nick Jr. shows. And that convinced me to tell Miss Nikolai about Hi Hi Puffy Ami Yumi. And that one made it the opposite of Peppa Pig. And that was the 2 disturbing backstories of why I hate Peppa Pig. To top it all off, here are some supporting ideas why the cartoon sucked. Here's the first reason. The animation is boring. Second of all, the characters are annoying. And third of all, the theme song is pointless. And last of all, the music is upsetting. But do you know who would hate the show / cartoon? All characters from Hi Hi Puffy Ami Yumi. They wanted to get the cartoon canceled. So, look at the rating it got on IMDb. It got a 6.1, which is pretty disappointing, which is lower than Peppa Pig's rating. Compared to Peppa Pig, it got a 6.3 rating, which is higher than a 6.1. Hi Hi Puffy Ami Yumi used to had a 6.3 rating, but they lowered it to a 6.1. So if you want to watch an amusing cartoon, I recommend you watch Hi Hi Puffy Ami Yumi than Peppa Pig. Do you know who would like Peppa Pig? Julie from Hi Hi Puffy Yummy Yumi. She wishes she can watch Hi Hi Puffy Yummy Yumi every single day. But unfortunately, she can't because she's a villain from Hi Hi Puffy Yummy Yumi. Ben and Holly's Little Peppa Pig was created by the same creators who created Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, which was pretty bad enough. Peppa Pig even got its own spin-off called Peppa Pig Tales, which was bad enough. In conclusion, Peppa Pig was one of the worst cartoons I've ever watched in my life. Since November 16th. But do you know I would like to call Peppa Pig? The Killer. So in conclusion, Peppa Pig is one of the worst cartoons I've ever watched. So does it spin off? And pretty as much as Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom. Hi Hi Puffy Yummy Yumi is the opposite of Peppa Pig. End transmission.